place to be is living free in Tennessee.
Welcome to Living Free in Tennessee, where we talk about building the life you choose on your terms. Today is Friday, July 18th, 2025. And I don't know what episode it is because I literally just ran to be in front of this computer. I was trying to make a cup of coffee at the last minute, and then it ran out of water, and then the grounds had to be pulled out. And it's been a morning. We'll talk a little bit about that today. Luckily, you guys can hear me. I'm getting a 5 out of 5. I did get my mic set up right. This one may run out of batteries while we're talking today. Tactical is in the house, but his mic is right here. So he's making coffee for me and for him. And we're having deviled eggs. So these deviled eggs have, instead of mayonnaise, I used milk kefir or kefir. And then I also put in I got these orange hot pepper brined olives, and I used some of that brine in there, and then my pickle relish, which is delicious. And I left a napkin here for you for that reason. He's got like stuff all over his hands, so they're a little softer than usual because I put a little bit more liquid in to make it easier to eat. So that's our breakfast today. We're a little behind. We usually eat about 10 o'clock. Anyway, that's what's going on. And this is life on a homestead, right? We're going to have today, I'm going to start and do things a little bit differently. So if you have a question or comment or something you want to talk about, put question or comment in all caps in the comment, in the chat there, and I will mark it. If you're watching us on Rumble, I think I will get your comments here. It's just when I comment back, it doesn't post to Rumble. But so you can ask a question if you're on Rumble, and if that doesn't work, let me know. I'll figure it out later. Hello, Chris Watkins. Hey, you coming to SRF? Just wondering. Let me know. Anyway, so before we jump into the new approach today, I want to talk about our featured event, and that is the canning workshop we're doing here next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to have a bunch of locally produced charcuterie-like items, like these deviled eggs. Actually, we'll probably have Aunt Helen's pickled beets in the deviled eggs. I just got some ice cream from a local dairy here. It's goat ice cream. And I also got some of their pimento cheese. I'm sourcing meats from Anton's House of Biltong. And if it gets here on time, it'll be here. But I've got some cured lamb and some other stuff that we'll be putting out. It's going to be a really fun spread. And I wanted to highlight things from different local homesteads and from our homestead as part of that day. But we're going to learn both water bath and pressure canning. And it's a small class, hands-on. You'll go home with your own jar of salsa, which I'm actually making jars of salsa this weekend so that people can actually go home and it's not flaming hot, right? So anyway, that's over at livingfreeintennessee.com. If you look on the right side, that's where the events are. It says Canning 101, and should be a good time. That's going to be over at Base Camp, and there is a download when you buy the product that gives you the address. I'm going to send an email out this weekend too to folks to make sure that they've got that very clear. Okay, I also want to thank two sponsors today. And the first sponsor I want to thank is, who is it? It's Discount Mylar Bags. Do you like Discount Mylar Bags, Tactical?
No.
You want your mic? They can't hear you when you don't have your mic on.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, Discount Mylar Bags is run by a fellow named Toby. And I can tell you this, tariffs have for sure impacted his business because he sources things in bulk for cheap in places like China. And then he passes on those savings to you. So there's a little less savings now, but he has been supporting people in the preparedness movement for many years. And if you're going to buy Mylar bags, buy them from Toby at Discount Mylar Bags. And then if he doesn't have them, maybe ask him if he knows where you can get them. But I do believe that his market's going to be challenging this year as we navigate the tariff wars. What do you think about the tariff wars, Tactical?
Know virtually nothing about it.
Okay, we're changing the show format today. So we don't have very carefully, yay, Chris, I'm glad you're coming. Do you want to do a demo? There's a 10-second delay on YouTube when I ask a question. Anyway, I'll reach out to you, Chris, about some stuff. Anyway, so the tariff wars have impacted his business. We're going to go into a new format of doing this show where we're a little more casual, but we put together a week in the life at the Holler Homestead video for you today. So we're going to start out playing the video. We're going to talk over some of the imagery. Tactical has not seen the video, so for him it's just a big surprise because he had a very busy morning, right?
Very busy morning, very busy day yesterday, and it's not going to stop till Monday.
Monday, yeah. We're going to Kentucky Sustainable Expo on Sunday to talk to folks there. He's at a GSD weekend on Saturday that's at a secret location, and I'm here holding down the fort by myself. And we're at that time when it's time to move all the sheep, and we're not ready to move the sheep, right?
The girls are basically ready at this point.
Yeah. So, and he leaves, I don't know what time in the morning, but I'm going to guess 9 o'clock-ish or 8 o'clock. And so it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. I get to do it by myself tomorrow. Woo, woo.
Okay.
Okay. What? Are you not excited?
I'm already hot and tired.
Okay. He's hot and tired. Also, it's summer, so it's hot. So anyway, how do you like those deviled eggs?
Good. They're a little wet.
They are a little wet. Do you like them wet?
Not so much.
You prefer them a little firmer?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to make it so they didn't stick to the roof of your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this dude ate 14 deviled eggs while I was out of town in 2 days. So he does.
3.
Oh, you told me 2.
I don't know.
You're a lying liar.
You know very well that I can't keep track of what day of the week it is, so.
You know, actually, your disability will come up in today's show if it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about something later, though. It's not. So, you ready to see the video?
Okay.
Are you? And I'll pause it if we need to talk about something, so you can like hit me or something if you need me to pause. Okay. Otherwise, I'm just going for it. Okay. So here we go, guys. Ready? Okay. So finding systems in chaos. And I was thinking about how the Holler Homestead works. And we start out every morning, well, almost every morning in peace with a peaceful cup of coffee by ourselves in our other off-site locations. And this is usually my view in the morning. The sun's coming up that direction. I'm having a cup of coffee, thinking about the day. And this is where the week begins, is sort of this view. And this week I had just gotten back from California. So it's quiet, grounded, coffee in hand before the hustle starts, and hopefully before anything breaks. Although this week things have been breaking. And this is my time to think about, okay, we're doing something bigger here. It's not just about the daily grind, but then I always try to hop off and do something fun. And today I went out to take my walk and found out a duck attacked my ankles. And I was like, why is this duck not in the coop? And 2, why is this duck attacking me? So I followed her, and she kept coming at me and going away and coming at me. And then I kind of walked off, and she wandered off somewhere. And I looked where she was, and I noticed that she was setting on some eggs, and that we had a new duckling in the holler. Will this one live? Time will tell. Tactical and I get to discuss this. So we're going to end up having a discussion about how we keep the duck alive. And I told him about it, told him not to let the ducks out because I didn't want other ducks disturbing the hatching. And I was going on my morning walk. He was trying to actually get something else done and kept getting interrupted, including by me, about the baby duck. And I just sent him a text. I was like, listen, I'm going to close her in so that things can't as easily get in there. It's not coyote proof. It's not even duck proof. Yeah, but a duck has to really want in there.
Well, the reason I was late getting in here was as I was walking up, I heard lots of chick noises. So I walked over there. There's a khaki walking around and a baby following. So I waited and watched to make sure she could actually get back to the nest.
Yeah. So it may be that we only get one duckling. We won't know. And that has happened multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. But that kind of put a whole different start to our morning. And that's kind of typical of a homestead where it's not the plan, but our systems have to flex. And another flex that happened this week was this surprise visitor. That's right. We had a water snake disguised or identifying as a copperhead. It was very clearly not a copperhead, and it was trying to puff its head up. Its like neck looks like it's a wrestler. It's trying to puff its head all out, so it looks like it's the right size. So this was relocated, but how mad was that snake at you?
At first, it like wasn't happy I was there. When I tried to pick it up, then it just went full Tasmanian devil, and the flailing, striking, like it was pissed and did not want to stay in that bin. And then I couldn't get the lid on because I was not about to stick my hand over there. So I was trying to use the snake grabber to actually grab the lid to get it on. And yeah, that snake was not happy.
And that's why we keep a snake grabber and know where it is. We've had to relocate 2 snakes. I don't really like to kill snakes because they do kill other things that we don't want around, including venomous snakes. You know, so your day starts out this way sometimes, and that is what it is. And something I've been thinking a lot lately is from my childhood, though. So I made a little video called "What Would Jane Do?" Jane Lamb lived up the road from me, and she had 12 children. But, you know, by the time I was there, some of them had already moved out and started families of their own. But she raised a giant garden and had fruit trees and preserved the food. And every time I went to her house, her kitchen was in order. And I'm going to show you guys what my kitchen looks like at the height of production right now. So this is what it looks like. And you'll hear me talk on this video. Except for that. Yeah, there we go. Maybe you won't hear me talk on it. Never mind. I'm going to talk for you. So what would Jane do when you're in the height of summer? Things get chaotic and everything's ripe at once. And so this is what my kitchen looks like. It's got canned green beans cooling from the canner. It's got the olive oil in the back. I've got some produce that we got from Trippy Acres Farm. We've got herbs drying that I need to find a place to put. Squash Mageddon's in the upper right corner. I've got tomato seeds starting and being saved for next year. Some tomatoes ripening on the counter. And then over at that canning lid, that canner lid is cooling. And then I've got deviled egg, hard boiling eggs happening just because, you know, if we keep those cycling through, that makes us happy. Then over at the sink, I've got these seeds, lettuce seeds, and dishes I need to do. And then all of those dishes drying from being washed. I want to know, what would Jane do? How did she keep her kitchen tidy without all of these things in progress? Got any ideas?
She had 12 kids.
She didn't have 12 kids at home. I think she had a secret place where preservation happened in her house somewhere that I never saw. Because that's the only way I can imagine it. But then again, my mom just takes on less. But Jane is definitely taking on as much or more than I was every day. She didn't work too, though. But she did work. Like that's all work.
Yeah.
So I think about this because
she didn't have a job.
So homesteaders feel really overwhelmed right now. Last week we heard from, or Monday we heard from Emily Hoff, who's like, yeah, everything's happening all at once right now. But I find beauty in the mess. Like, I think it's kind of cool to watch the tomatoes change color and all of that. But at the same time, in the mess, we have to find the system. And we've been talking a lot about systems this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cool thing is, with all of that going on, sometimes systems click into place. And one of the things that went really well this week is that we talked to you guys about the Holler Hub project, where the Holler Homestead's opening up a glamping site. We're turning this shed into a camping shed. And by the way, when a big shed's coming down the hill at you, it gets kind of freaky until you walk away from the path of the big shed. But turning a shed into a camping shed and making it so we can open our doors without buying extra land. Although I plan to buy land or as soon as we can get our hands on something so that we can have lots for sale and some other additional systems in place. But moving this shed clears the path for glamping hookups and the cabin build out. And so that is something that's come together way quicker than I thought. However, it costs $650 and I need to sell more magic cards.
Okay.
What did you think about that whole thing? Did you see that as things coming together, or was that a disruption to your week?
I mean, both. I was not expecting it that soon, so I wasn't completely ready for it. And it does create a whole new puzzle / workload because I got to figure out all the fencing stuff up there.
But all the connections we have actually led to somebody from the community coming out to evaluate that site for turning it for doing skid steer work, who I just talked to yesterday, and he's showing up today.
Yeah.
So this is happening way faster than we thought. What's not happening faster is coffee roasting.
Yeah.
So my roaster broke, and luckily Tactical was able to fix it. And then today I didn't realize that he had tripped one of my door overrides somehow in that process. So it's like with the switch on the four-wheeler, I had closed the door. Somehow that door got opened. So it didn't turn on today, but then it did. And then he was irritated because I'd interrupted him while he was trying to get holy basil. And every time he has to do something on the inside of the roaster, he's irritated.
It's more having to put that thing back together again.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of putting some hinges on the side with metal that hold it so we don't have to unscrew every screw every time. And it's more about the screws don't seem to go back in the same place at the same time every time.
Well, the holes don't line up exactly right, and they're more of self-tapping sheet metal screws, which are not designed to be taken in and out.
But the good thing is it's back up and running. It's another system that was disrupted this week. The theme of this week was we got disrupted, but things got back on track. That's what's been going. It's like that pattern the whole week. Same with Holler Roast Coffee. I'll be roasting this afternoon when you're picking up hay, unless you want my help with the hay. And that's just how it rolls sometimes, guys. It's like it's a hustle because it's a hustle. So Jen from the community needed some holy basil because she ordered some and it was moldy. And the good news is a few days ago, somebody, not me, harvested holy basil and dried it. So I was able to throw that in a box, get it in the mail to her. And that's sort of the connection to community piece that's important, right? Where we can reach out to each other and help each other out. And she needs it sooner rather than later. And it's sort of these small exchanges that hold our network together, which leads me to Don Gorham this week texted me the following statement. If you show me yours, I'll show you mine. What's that about? Well, I've mentioned that it can get real busy on the homestead, right? And on particularly busy days, it can be hard to pull everything together for a dinner from the stuff on your homestead. And we were texting back and forth, and she had just done one of her, I think it was the Homestead Girls summer camp, or it's the Homestead Ladies summer camp. But anyway, she had done a summer camp all day, which means she's exhausted. Also, she's milking cows. Also, she's canning food. Also, she's raising a garden. Like it's lots of alsos in there.
Yeah.
And so on a day like that, we have a tendency to do frozen pizza. But both she and I were like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to hold each other accountable and cook homestead food, which meant that Tactical and I ate at 8 p.m. But we had delicious lamb chops from our sheep and all of that produce from our garden. And I think that the holding each other accountable in the network can be really helpful too, but doing it playfully, like challenging each other. So she had steak and some other things, but everything on that plate, except for the cauliflower, came from here. And the cauliflower came from Michael's farm earlier this year, because I just bought all the cauliflower because I love cauliflower, but I didn't really work it out. So the thing is, things are not always graceful on the homestead or Instagram perfect. But the cool thing is that we have these days of a wild ride, which we'll talk about your wild ride later in the show. And we still have beauty like those 3 muscovies that are here. And a lot has changed. Some things broke. Some things are still broken. Some really big things are broken right now. But some things came together pretty well, I think. And every day starts with that quiet cup of coffee in the morning. So it's been a pattern we've been in for the whole homestead. So let's talk about your wild ride. He got a carnival ride on a lawnmower on the pasture yesterday.
That was bad.
Yeah. Well, he was like knocked off his game for the rest of the day, pretty much. I think he got scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was almost to the very top of the pasture, at least a part of the pasture where I'm willing to take the mower. And in about 0.5 milliseconds, I went from plowing through something to I had no power to the wheels at all. Nothing. And that's your brakes. So the nose turned downhill and I started going downhill, and there was literally nothing to do except for go along for the ride. And
how fast were you going, do you think?
It wasn't that fast. The concerning part there is going fast enough to hit a bump of some sort or a drop and that thing rolls.
Right.
So I threw, because the zero turn, I threw the sticks out.
To get them out of your way?
To get them out of the way, because I was about to just hop off. And for whatever, I still don't know what's wrong with this thing, but it did something and put enough resistance on the wheels that it came to a really slow roll. So I just sat there and waited, and it finally hit a bunch of weeds, and that put enough tension to bring it to a stop. And then it wound up getting chained to a tree, seeing how it had no brakes. And then held there until I took.
Okay, wait. So then sketchy redneck shit happened after that. That wasn't the sketchy part. That freaked him out. But I'm sitting here and I knew that he'd asked Nighthawk to help him get that mower off the side of the hill because it's got to be repaired. We need to find somebody to repair it. And I hear a car pull up in my driveway that is not a car that belongs here. And I'm like, who is pulling up in my driveway at 7 o'clock at night? And then I look out and it's his Toyota truck. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't heard that thing turned on in a long time. So what sketchy shit did you do with Nighthawk exactly for the mower?
So for people who don't know, my Toyota was very much over-engineered. She's sitting on 33s with 529 gears and Detroit lockers. So
it's your rock climbing. It's your mudding vehicle, right?
She is definitely a rock climber, which is not what I was going for. It's just the way it turned out. The suspension is way too stiff, which is, yeah. But anyway, she's a little beast. So I took that over and ran a chain from the front of the Toyota to the back of the lawnmower, and then hooked a strap from the front of the lawnmower to the four-wheel drive four-wheeler. So Nighthawk was pulling the direction that we wanted to go to keep it rolling in the direction we wanted to go. And I was using the Toyota as an anchor to keep it from going out of control and down the hill.
Somehow we didn't get video of this because that would have made that video way more exciting today.
The thought halfway crossed my mind, but after the day I had yesterday, I was not trying to add a layer of what could possibly go wrong to what I was doing.
Yeah, no, fair. If we had been able to mount a GoPro on your truck or on the four-wheeler, that would have worked, or me standing there. But I was busy trying to get an actual dinner out the door yesterday.
So some people will know what I mean. Won by fire.
Oh, yeah. Goodbye. That one won't reproduce then. Yeah, so that was extra sketchy. And then the funny thing is the Toyota is for sale. The reason the Toyota is for sale is because he's disabled. He has back issues that mean he doesn't get to do something he loves in his Toyota because it rattles him around too much now.
Yeah, that thing beats me up just going down our road, much less trying to do what it's intended for.
Yeah, so he finally, because he rebuilt that whole thing, so it's an emotional thing. It's like your baby car.
Oh yeah, I completely. When I say I stripped the drivetrain on that, like I stripped it down, every nut, bolt, paint, everything, and completely rebuilt the drivetrain. Beefed up the steering, a lot of modifications to that.
Yeah, Pack Rat says you can't ragdoll on rocks with a serious back injury. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's for sale. It's parked up in my driveway so I can wash it, so we can take pictures, so we can get it listed.
Only one side of it needs to get washed.
I know, he washed half of it. I don't know why.
I ran out of time.
It's half washed. I can take pictures of one good side right now. And that's something that I think about because Emily was talking about if we all just put our junk in one place and then people had access to our junk, we could all have the junk we needed for the homestead. But we all like to keep our own junk piles. And my homestead is a really good example of three owners worth of junk piles were here when I moved in.
Then your stuff.
And then I developed my own junk pile, and then his junk pile arrived, and it's just been one giant junk pile that we've worked through. But as we've worked through it, we've been discovering things we can use, and just like as we get rid of more of the junk pile, we have more space for things that are useful here. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
So Packer says, what year is your Toyota? I have a son who rebuilt an 89.
Yeah, mine is an 85. It was the last year they had the split front axle.
Mm-hmm. So it's a good little rock climber.
No, it's a little beast.
Yeah.
I love the truck. Yeah,
you have to start it with a screwdriver.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to fixing that part.
I guess you don't need to now because it's for sale.
Mm.
He might fix it. Who knows? But I think I don't know. For me, this week's message has been, even though unexpected things happen on the homestead, even though you get overwhelmed, the systems are there. And the more systems you build, the better off you are when something happens, like the duck with the duckling this morning, because I'm wondering if we're going to get any more ducklings.
I don't know. She went back to the nest.
Okay, so we'll just leave it. Let's give it 2 days and see what happens. But if she just hatched one, I'm going to be disappointed in her abilities.
Well,
or the Drake's abilities.
Who knows how long those eggs took to accumulate.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I wonder if that's the one who was up in my other area.
I don't know. I think there's 2 or 3 that are sitting in various places.
There's 2 or 3 more ducks sitting in the yard?
Probably.
If we find them, we should do something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I only had 4 eggs today. And we're actually entering the season of the molt. What happens during the season of the molt, Tactical?
Probably going to get no eggs.
Yeah.
For a while.
They go about 45 days, no eggs.
Yeah.
So this is how, if you layer over your new ducks with your old ducks, you get to have a better experience.
Yeah. I think it's time to think about cycling this flock out anyway.
Maybe.
They've been here for a while.
Yeah, they know the system. I've got ducks that are 7 years old out there.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, the ones like the original flock.
Yeah, I think there's
6 of those left.
I think there's 6.
Yep.
1 Drake and the 5 females.
Yeah, what Jack does is he gets a different kind of duck every time, so he knows who's who and who's time to be cycled out.
Yeah.
Are you thinking duck stew?
I don't know.
Okay. Give them to people who want duck pets. Wait, is your sister coming to visit again?
I don't know, my parents are coming up.
Don't they want ducks?
Yeah. Thinking about getting another rabbit pregnant so I can send it home with them to my sister.
So speaking of pregnant rabbits, one of the things we talked about this week was that we are not working together well.
Yeah.
So it occurred to me that as we're expanding out and people want to come help, if we don't tell them something they can help with, that doesn't work. And you don't like to tell people to help you, correct?
It's usually more complicated to get somebody to help than it is to just do it.
But are you going to like answer my butt?
Oh.
But if you don't ever ask for help, then you don't know how to ask for help, right?
Okay.
And that means that then you can't have somebody do something that took too long to show them how multiple times. And then if we don't communicate about priority, then I'm sure I frustrate you and you frustrate me by doing things.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So this week I brought it up because we talk in the morning. I brought it up and I said, Packrat says, agreed. That's butt up with not being able to do it all. Yeah, the problem is you can't do it all. But this week I was like, I feel like we're not communicating well on what the priority is. And because of that, I think we need to talk about and he was like, what do I need to do? And you were like, I was like, I want to help you, but I don't know what's on your mind. But I see you fussing around with plants, and I'm wondering why we're doing that instead of something bigger picture. Or if there's things I can help you with that we can schedule. Because the other conflict is when I help him, I scheduled in my day at a certain time, and that doesn't always work for you. And what I hate doing is helping him in the following way. Hey, I need help with this fence. And I come over there and I stand there for 45 minutes because you're not ready for me to help yet. And then I walk away, and then that's when you need the help.
Yeah, half the time it's like, I need you to do something, and then it's going to be 10 minutes before I'm ready for something else.
Yeah.
So it's complicated.
But I think that part of that complication is not having other things that can be done in the intervening 10 minutes. So we started working on that this week. And as you can see, he's not on board with actually fixing this.
It's not that I'm not on board with it. I just have no solution.
Well, the one thing we did the day we had the conversation is we talked about the no-kill list. And on the no-kill list was moving rabbits around.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, hey, let's move the rabbits, which took 15 minutes. And it was way easier with two people than one person.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it starts, or solving this problem. Maybe it starts with being aware of what's going to be better with two people than one person. Because moving wood chips, better with two people than one person.
Yeah.
Moving rabbits, better with two people than one person.
Yeah.
Mucking out the coop, better with two people than one person.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh.
Moving soil into raised beds.
Probably.
Yeah, that's because we did bed 4 together.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you were bringing soil down, and I was spreading it out without bending the thingies.
Okay.
So it was just a cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making biochar. Better with a mocktail than no mocktail.
Okay.
So, I don't know. What else do you have about the homestead?
I mean, I'm just slammed right now.
Why are you slammed?
I mean, fortunately, yesterday when the mower died, I was almost all the way through a paddock line. So I went back over this morning with the weed eater, knocked out 5-10 feet at the bottom and about 20 feet, 30 feet at the top, and was able to finish running the fence for that. And then I had another piece of fence that I had to fix. So the girls' paddock is basically set up at this point. And then I kind of looked at where the boys are going next, and I need to get theirs set up, which theoretically won't take long, but the ground is dry, so it's going to be a question of how hard is it going to be to get post in the ground. But that all needs to happen today.
How much of that is actually going to happen today, though?
I think the question is more of how much of that's going to happen in the daylight.
What if that can come off the list?
Out of what I just mentioned, nothing.
Really?
Yeah. They both got to move.
Okay. And we got to get hay.
And we got to get hay. And we got a dude showing up.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Well, hear me out. If they don't both move today, could we move them early in the morning tomorrow?
Maybe, but they still got to get set up for it.
Yeah. How long is that going to take, do you think?
I don't know. It depends on how long. Like, the girls will take me probably half an hour to go over, get everybody fed, because I always feed the dogs before they move, because once they move, they're too excited to stop and eat. So it'll probably take half an hour to go over, get them fed, and then get everybody shifted to the next paddock. The boys is a big question mark, because it's all a question of how hard is it going to be to get post in the ground. And it's one of those, you don't know what you're going to do until you try to dig the hole. Like, you're just not going to know until you go over there and try it. It's either going to be half an hour or 2 hours.
So, what I'm hearing you say, because you're not asking for help, is that if I were to go over and feed the girls and hang out while you were doing other things until it was time to move them, that would save a half hour of your time.
It would save 10, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Should I do that?
I don't know. We'll see what happens this evening.
Are there other things like that?
No.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
See, this is us trying to figure out how we can work together, and he's a loner is the problem.
Well, I mean, I could say, go set the boys' fence up, but you have no idea where the fence goes. So I can't do that part.
Mm-hmm. Where's their next paddock?
Basically in the yard up from the paddock that they're in.
Okay. Oh, in Nighthawks?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a weird run for the fencing.
Well, here's hoping that rain yesterday did something. Oh, no, wait, 2 days ago. Yeah, it's probably concrete out there, guys.
Probably.
Yes, this is interesting. As hard as it rains here, the ground's really hard, and that tells me we have more work to do on the soil. But then I was listening to Jeff Lawton talk about slope and erosion on Jack's podcast like last week.
Yeah.
And part of what we've got going on is, even though we've done some erosion and remediation, it's still eroding, which means it's compacting too. And then it makes it into clay concrete when you don't have just rocks in your way.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted you to listen to that episode.
Did he give a solution to that problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you'll have to, read in. He didn't like say, this is how you solve that problem. He just said, this is what you do on this slope to make this not happen at different degrees. And he went up to 12 degrees and I was like, that's cute, bro.
12 degrees.
What's that like?
Well, the bottom of the pasture might be 12
No,
degrees.
I mean, what's it like to have a pasture only at 12 degrees?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The bottom might be at 12 degrees.
Yeah.
I think I've got one spot I guesstimated at about 50.
Well, that episode was really good because he was talking about LiDAR mapping down to 2-inch layers and how that has really helped them get better at being able to do a design without being on site, first of all, and gives you a much better picture of what's going on, including the slope. And you can put layers over it on the computer. So that was cool. So, and this comes at a time where we're talking about adding acreage here. And then the acreage needs a design. Yeah. He was saying if you leave a shovel in the pasture when we shoot the LiDAR, we can see the shape of the shovel where you left it.
Okay.
So I thought that was cool. So how is your inner peace right now?
Depends on the exact moment in time.
So you did that podcast with me where you told your story. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I keep getting feedback about that. Yeah, Packrat says Alan Booker talked about the value of granular mapping like that. He was talking about that at my workshop when we did those work sessions here. So yeah. So are you ready to hear feedback from somebody? Because here's what happened. Yeah. I use Fountain FM, which is a podcasting 2.0 app. And sometimes because their system has changed and I had it connected to my Nostr and it disconnected and I don't know why. And I haven't fixed that yet, but maybe I'll fix that this weekend. I didn't get notice of this one.
Okay.
So this was sent back on the 22nd from Doggone It Girl. Okay. Who has commented on multiple of my things. Anyway, this is what Doggone It Girl said. Tactical Nicole, holy heck. I listened to the entire Unsplit episode as it was broadcast. I bawled. I remembered I had to go back to my days in counseling. PTSD trigger. I was outside working for most of it, as if nature could heal all of the old hurt that resurfaces. It helps. Tactical is right. We are stronger than our circumstances. Thank you seems chintzy. Can't just casually thank somebody for burying their soul and reliving an acidic past. Gah. I have gratitude for the sharing. I thought I might hear more about Dark Horse Lodge, but maybe that's another time and place. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, the being in nature part and healing is definitely, there is something to that. I don't know exactly what it is, but I mean, I like sitting on the screened-in porch. I'd rather be there than inside, but at the same time, I've got a spot down by the creek, and if I have the choice, I'd rather be sitting down there, like away from anything man-made. It's just, there's something better about it.
Yeah, Packrat says in the comments, I've been thinking about y'all since that cast. I appreciate you. I was talking to Tactical about, it seems like we should talk about that more openly, more often. So when I say he's disabled, I mean that he can't, literally can't function sometimes. Yeah. And because he doesn't have a job here, he just lives on a homestead. If that happens, what he's learned to do is tap out. And then I know he tapped out, and then I'm aware of what's not getting done.
Yeah.
So I think it takes that for somebody in your condition.
Yeah.
I hope that you get past that at some point.
I mean, it's definitely a lot better now than, I mean, I'm sure you could attest to how functional I was when I got here 6 years ago. Like, I think it's very different.
Yeah. The thing I think people don't know about a disorder like PTSD, and it's going to have ramifications different in everybody, but the way it presents in you is when you go into the mode of fight or flight because something happened.
Mm-hmm.
You get, I can tell now, you get a look on your face, and you don't cry, you don't scream, you don't act out in anger. Your eyes get really big, and you answer direct questions very politely. And it's almost as if you're hearing what I'm saying to you. But what I've learned is he's not hearing what I'm saying to him. He is answering in any way that he can to end this conversation so he can get out of this situation.
Basically, yeah.
And I think that makes it hard for people to know if you're triggered. So they think you've agreed to something. You just said yes to something to get him to shut up so you can like take yourself out of that situation and like hide.
Yeah.
Which is, have you ever talked to your psychologist about that one?
No.
Like when you're in that mode, is there something you can do to stop? I know what you do to me when I'm starting to push you there by asking too many questions at one time. You go like this with your finger. You hold your finger up. You did that today. And I was like, okay, I got to shut up. And then you finish what you're doing. But I think you do that because you know I'm not going to I know what that means. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't get pissed off about it.
I mean, we've known each other long enough that, I mean, we can pick up on each other's cues, and we've also developed specific things to know. But like this morning
he was about to go there.
Multiple things stacked on top of each other, in the middle of doing one thing and get a phone call about something else, and then she walks out in the middle of the phone call while I'm still trying to do the other thing, asking for something else that's not just as simple as go get the thing and be like, here, like I gotta go find it.
And then he went finger up.
And it was like, I can't even think about what to say, like, to her. So it was just like, stop. Please.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right there. That's literally what it looks like. That look on your face. You like squiggle up your eyes. But that's before you go into robot mode.
Yeah.
What will happen after that if you keep on him is he goes into robot mode. So I'm only giving this example for people who are around people who have PTSD. Look for robot mode because it's not everybody who has PTSD, but it is one. I'm sure there's some word for it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's like you've disassociated with the world around you.
Yeah, and for each person, it will be something different. I mean, I've always said that if the human brain was that simple, then my phone would already be smarter than I am because they would have already replicated it.
Right.
And another thing I always say with PTSD is there's nothing logical about it. So, like, if you're dealing with somebody with PTSD, take anything that would make any form of sense and just put it somewhere else, because it doesn't matter in regards to the PTSD. It's not logical. So you got to kind of take a step back and specifically address, Yeah, there's no litter box.
I know there's a reason for that. I will tell you. Finish your thing. I'll tell everybody why there's no litter box there.
But it's a situation where you can't just, there's no cookie cutter explanation. So you've actually got to look at the situation and make an assessment to figure it out. There's no off the shelf anything for it.
Yeah, Packrat says it's good that you're allowed to do that. Yeah, well, I had to learn what that was and not get offended by it. And that's why I'm saying it, because he never intended to offend me the whole time with however he was reacting. So,
and it wasn't always the case, though.
What?
That, like, we had communication issues earlier in life, and you actually went to one of my appointments with my therapist specifically to discuss our communication so that we could communicate effectively.
Yeah, but you weren't intentionally trying to be mean to me or whatever. Yeah. And I figured out that he thinks linearly and I think all at once. And so his accommodation is he tries to go with me when I free flow, but when he's in a high level of stress, he can't. And my accommodation is when I see that he's not in that mode and needs to process something, I respond to the finger up with, oh yeah, I gotta slow down because I'm on to the next 7 topics.
Yeah.
So, hey, Alabama says, I've learned over time that anything can cause PTSD. So yeah, well, and anything can trigger, like some of the things that trigger him have nothing to do with anything he experienced. It's just that everything has happened. Things are coming at him too fast and he's not processing because of how his brain works. And then shutdown happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've got 2 more. One is from Purple Jess. Thank you so much for your service and for sharing your experience. I don't think we've heard enough of these experiences, though they are hard to talk about. And then Flora says, Chris, Nicole, just thank you. And the Ryan, so Homestead Consultant says, great episode. We've had to boot entities off our property too. So glad you have to have authority in Christ. Ryan was actually here the first time we had the property blessed.
Yeah.
So anyway, so guys on Fountain, just know, there's another one from Cheetah 68. I'm so glad you two got together and recorded this. Now I know a new way to jumpstart sourdough, and it doesn't require. Oh wait, that has nothing to do with anything. Anyway, I don't know what that's about. I'll have to figure out what that's about. So anyway, that's all I got from Fountain that I know of, and hopefully someday they'll make it so I can figure out which comment goes where.
Okay.
Right now I'm having a little trouble with that. So if I don't see him. Packrat says, bad things happen in this life at a time where things are coming in too fast, too effectively to be dealt with. So Amy asks, T, does an organized environment help your symptoms?
Yeah, and in what regard?
So maybe not like my house is right now.
I mean, I guess my question is, what do you mean by organized environment?
So I can say this. We have a morning routine that when we stick to it, which today it completely went off its rails, and I'm not even sure if you brought up your laundry.
I did not.
Right.
That's the only thing I didn't get done.
Okay. Yeah. Where it happens on a timeline. There are certain things I do and he does. And that means that when he committed to that, because he had to come up with it and commit with it to it, because we tried to do this with him several other times in ways and it never quite clicked. I don't know what brought him to the conclusion that I'm actually going to do this. He did it, and within a week, things were working better.
Yeah, and I have I had a routine that I would go through, and it was some basic stuff. And for me, because you roll in all of the different things.
Just finish your thing.
Okay. Especially like a lot with the cognizant issues and distractions, stuff like that. Like one thing that was always difficult was I have certain like pills that I swallow, supplements and stuff like that, and like can never remember that. So what I wound up tying that to was feeding my dog. So, when I go in to feed my dog, I also take my stuff. And I kind of had that part, but it was still erratic. And so what I wound up doing is on my phone, on my notepad, I literally went, I don't know if that's going to show up or not.
There, it's a list of everything he has to do.
And it's
in order. You do not change the order. When you change the order or you let the ducks out instead of him, it messes him up. But you were already uninterrupted by the time I messed you up.
Yeah. And
I let the ducks out today. I got the eggs.
At this point, I've got it in actual time blocks. So there's some flex in that, but there's also not. And if something doesn't happen within, a block, so like my big time block is 9 to 9:30. And if I get everything in that time block done, cool. Even if that doesn't start until 10 o'clock, that's not good, but it's not completely a wreck either. It's when that time block gets interrupted that's a problem for me.
So Amy says not cluttered, scheduled tasks, uninterrupted chores for thinking on the next thing to do.
Yeah.
So Randy is here. Can you go out and talk to him?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can tell you that I'm going to end up finishing this show without him, but which means I don't get to ask him the question, does living on the homestead help with PTSD? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. It's like the more organized we are, the better it is. But on a homestead, what falls by the wayside first here is some of the clutter organization. Like right now, I have a sofa full of things that I came back from California with that need to be put away or washed or whatever. And it's less than it was, but the way that we're scheduled out, I'll have a certain amount of time. And I decided not to stay up past my bedtime to do it. Right. So there's just different stuff that works well. And the more we communicate and share, like that rabbit moving thing, the better it works. And if we stop talking or stop checking in at certain times of day, it's not as good. So Packrat said the homestead is a hard one to schedule 100%. That's true. That's why we have a chalkboard, which I write the no-kill list down. Like on there is to plant some fig trees that we haven't planted for 2 weeks since Tim dropped them off. And we have the holes dug, but we want to do some soil work. We'll get that done. I might end up doing that by myself tomorrow because he's heading off and I'll be here. Off-grid with Sugar Creek. Scheduling is challenge where animals are involved. Yeah. So he's had to learn to flex. And I think that's been good for him too, because he can't just be regimented on everything all the time. But at the same time, adding some more regiment into the system here has revealed systems. And we've been implementing permaculture systems here for a few years now. And that means that one thing feeds another. And what happens as we set up the standards here is that we end up identifying new things that need a system or seeing how two systems can become one system, which makes it easier for us. So I actually think from the standpoint of having PTSD in my observations is that it's been really good for him, in part because he can be flexible. It's not a job, right? That, he does some things if he wants to, and if he doesn't want to, he doesn't. And sometimes if he doesn't want to, it's because he can't. And then we're careful at this point about what we add. So I really want to start making water kefir, whatever. Not doing it right now because I can't even keep up on the garden produce canning right now. So we're also super careful about adding anything new And in fact, we've been getting rid of some of the things we do as we figure out how the systems work together. Because, I think our focus for the next year will be on the Holler Hub stuff and soil, because that's what's giving us the food quality production that we really want. So, big must-dos often come in so fast, they never hit the whiteboard, I imagine. Yeah. I mean, like the thing that never made the to-do list was put in fencing around this duck that's in my swale with her nest. And it only needs to be there for 2 days, and then we'll see if she has other ducklings, but whatever. Mona says water kefir is delicious, but probably needs more love than a pet snake. Yeah. Well, and if, as the Holler Hub develops and as more people are closer, maybe somebody here is into that and maybe they take that on. Because that's the other thing is if we think of homesteading as a community instead of a way to get away from each other, then some of us can specialize. So yeah, Amy's snapping beans and shelling peas while listening. I was snapping beans while I was doing my Monday podcast so I could get my canning done. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you like the show and want to support the work we're doing here, you can do it in 2 ways. One, get your coffee at hollerroast.com. It won't ship till Monday because we just fixed the roaster and I'm catching up on everything today. The second way is to consider becoming a member. Our next member webinar is going to be all about AI with Sean Mills. I think it's on August 7th. So that'll be 6 p.m. Central, August 7th. And I will be shouting that to the rooftop tops over the weekend. So with that, go out, make it a great week.